Hey, Amanda. Sorry, I saw you were in the waiting room.
I was just here for your class.
Oh, right. Sorry, I forgot. I forgot. Yeah, thanks for that. So I'm recording this right now. So you who are watching the recording, Amanda is my employee. And so this is why I was confused because we had just finished our training of which Amanda was participating. So yeah, thanks for that, Amanda. All righty, I'm going to start letting everyone in. And this is weird. Like, this has been a Tuesday class, and this is like the third time that we're meeting this semester. And it's like week 8 because of the electrical problems. The first week we didn't meet. Last week was, a Monday instead of a Tuesday class. So anyway, okay, everyone, welcome. Brandon, welcome, brother. I love this lightsaber picture. If you're there, Chandler, welcome as well. And then we've got Gage in here with some interesting rusty plates, it looks like. Brandon, there you are, brother. How are you doing?
Oh, pretty good. Just a bit sick, but
Hey, COVID, is it?
it's just like a sore throat, cough, and like nasal congestion, stuff like that. I think it was just like a cold or something like that, but just
Yeah.
getting over it.
When I had COVID, I thought it was just like a cold at first, kind of just like, against kind of congestion and stuff like that. And then I had this headache, that wouldn't go away, and didn't lose my taste, but I couldn't taste milk like at all, and neither could my kids. And so then I got tested, and it turned out it was COVID. Not saying that that's your experience, but if you haven't Google the symptoms, and if you start to notice any, maybe it is COVID. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, it might have been because it went through all my roommates pretty quick, but it is what it
Yeah,
is.
hard to know. What's interesting is despite the fact that, everything seems the same as far as like last semester, COVID cases in Rexburg are really going down. Are you here in Rexburg, Brandon?
Yeah.
I think at its apex, there were like 300 something cases in around November. And now, again, we're still in cold and flu season, but it's only about 62 active cases right now. So that's kind of interesting. All right, everyone, welcome. It seems like this is the first day of class. Does this seem like it to you? Because this has got to be the weirdest semester that I've experienced with a Tuesday class, right? Like, we didn't meet the first Tuesday because class started on Wednesday. And then we did meet, and then there was the power outage, and then we met again, and then there was the, President's Day weekend, class move, or, President's Day moving class from Monday to Tuesday. So this has been a really weird semester, but, and I promise it'll only get weirder in this class. So that's my guarantee to all of you. And so I really like to lower the bar. And if we exceed those really low expectations, then I think we're all happy. If we meet the expectations, then no one's angry because I set the bar really low anyway. So, all righty. Welcome back, everyone. Sydney, would you mind offering the prayer for us, please?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Dear kind Heavenly Father, thank you so much for blessing us with this opportunity we have to be in this class today, and thank you for blessing us with the technology that we have to do virtually. And we ask that the Spirit be with us so we can learn the things that we need to learn. And Father, we're grateful for everything you've given us. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen. All right, thank you so much, Sydney. So today, time pending, here's what I hope that we can accomplish today. Number one, I want to briefly review what we've read. It's easy to forget, right? Especially where the assignment was due Saturday night. So I want to briefly review what we've read. I want to make a personal application of the content by having us actually take the grit scale again. The title of the chapter is How Gritty Are You, right? So I think it begs the question, do we feel like we're growing in grit, right, over the course of the semester? So we'll take that again. That will be on page 55 of the textbook. So you'll need your textbook. And then finally, what I would like to do is then talk about your 2 stretch goals, your hard thing goal, your fun thing goal, and actually make a goal matrix relative to your stretch goal. Okay. So to start class, okay, two things. I'm going to put you into breakout rooms. I want you to discuss two things. Okay. Number one, what's the coolest thing you've done in the 2 weeks since we've met, if anything? If you don't have a cool thing, what's the most boring thing that you've done? And again, you might say, well, it's called GE 101 homework. And if so, touche, okay? All right, so number two then. So number one, coolest or most boring thing that you've done. And then number two, key takeaways from the reading. What sticks out to you the most from what we've read, okay? So I'm gonna put everyone into breakout rooms right now. And let's see here. Sorry, let me, shucks. Let me recreate the rooms here. Sorry, just one moment. Okay, there we go. I'll actually need to. There we go. We about have 2 or 3 people in a room. Okay, so just repeat. Well, number one, coolest or most boring thing that you've done over the last 2 weeks. Number two, key takeaways from the reading. Okay, all right, go ahead, everyone. All righty. Sorry, Malia, you got cut off there. So just quickly in the chat, just the 1 or 2 things that you remember, and then I'll call on a couple of people, okay? Let's see, Kai. I'm going to ask you, Kai, if that's okay. Let's see, and I'll ask Chandler, you as well. What's 1 or 2 things you remember from the reading? Everyone else, put it in the chat, just in a sentence. One thing that stuck out to you. Go ahead.
I think for me, just like how that chapter says, passion is easy, but like perseverance is hard. Because like I just looking back in my like I don't know my like high school, I always have some interest, but like it's really easy to start with it, but it's really hard to stick with it. I think being able to stick with the interest you have chose, that's kind of pretty important, and also the necessary part for you to succeed in the future.
Yeah, thanks, Kai. And Sarah, your thought like goes right along with what Kai's saying. Being gritty is more about being consistent with something, sticking with it over time, than it is about that one moment, right? Or that a couple of years of being really intense. Remember that student from Wharton? She was giving a lecture. She's at the University of Pennsylvania. That's where she works. Wharton Business School is this famous business school at the University of Pennsylvania. And this entrepreneur comes up to her and says, look how gritty I am. She's like, oh, that's awesome. But what about 2 years from now? He says, well, I might be doing something else. And she says, well, being gritty isn't just being really interested right now. It's also maintaining that interest and continuing to develop that over time. Very good. Thanks, Sarah, for that. Let's see here. Oh, Dave, good. So sub goals leading up to this ultimate goal. We'll talk about that a little bit more. Thanks for that. And then Brandon, same kind of thought. Perseverance is harder to maintain than passion. Here's the thing, and I want to come back to this, Brandon, when we do the grit assessment again. We might find that to be true of all of us. Okay, Chandler, I'll come to you. What stuck out to you, brother?
I enjoyed the idea where they discussed that every little thing we do, we're kind of leading towards one big goal at the end of the day.
Mhm. Okay, good.
Yeah,
So, yeah, sorry, I thought you were continuing on with that, but yeah, that's exactly right. And what she's saying, let's see, Madeline, you were talking about Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll got fired from the New England Patriots. Um, and by the way, parenthetically, the coach that they hired, Bill Belichick, is now regarded as the greatest coach of all time. He's won like 6 Super Bowls. So for the Patriots, it worked out really, really well. But for Pete Carroll, it worked out well because it allowed him to be introspective. This wasn't working. What do I need to do? How do I need to continue on? And if anything, Duckworth's teaching us in this chapter is trying is not the problem. Some people will say, oh, I'm bad at math. And really, they're not. They might be bad. They might not be. What they're really bad at is trying math. That's what they're really bad at. And because they don't try, they think, well, I'm bad at math. And it's like a self-confirming prophecy because they're like, I didn't try, I got an F, ergo I'm bad at math. And if they're real with themselves, they'll say, I didn't try, ergo I'm bad at math. And maybe if I tried, that would be a little bit different. So what Pete Carroll realized is, number one, I've got to have this life philosophy. What is it that I'm really passionate about? And number two, I need to make sure that my life aligns with that thing that I'm really, really passionate about. So that was kind of interesting from the reading. And later, even in his own right, he's been successful. He won some national championships in the college ranks, and he's won the Super Bowl with his team in the professional ranks. Almost had 2 Super Bowls. They came up short against his old team, the New England Patriots, in one of the Super Bowls, but kind of interesting. Okay, a couple other thoughts in the chat here. Gage saying you can do goals that will help you and at the same time work towards your bigger goals, right? Thanks, Gage. Can you kind of elaborate on that?
Just like, I don't know, stuff that like you have as a smaller goal that will help yourself in helping you work towards whatever that bigger goal is. I don't know, I can't really think of an example right now, but it just like, it helps you better yourself while at the same time getting you closer to where you want to be.
Okay, yeah, very good. Very good. So the things that a lot of people, if we're not careful, we might disassociate the things that we do every single day right now with who we're trying to become in the future, especially the bad habits that we have. A lot of students I talk to, if they have time, they'll say time management skills is their big problem. And by the way, when they mean time management skills, what they really mean is they don't have self-control. Because you can't manage time. You can't. Like none of us can stop time, right? We can't. What we can do is personally manage ourselves within the time given. So when people say they have poor time management skills, they don't know this, but what they should really be saying is, I have bad self-control right now. I have poor personal management skills. But I think in thinking in those terms, it helps us to realize, well, we're the agent, right? We can actually control this. Dave, you had your hand up. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I don't know if it kind of goes along this train of thought, but we talked about like the ultimate goal and then the sub goals. We may discover over time that certain sub goals are not conducive to reaching this ultimate goal, and that's a part of the process is figuring out what is working and what isn't working. But then also part of that is also backwards planning. I think is what we call it sometimes, where we can see the end from the beginning. But that's the difficulty, though. It's very hard to see the end from the beginning. But I think what the book submits is that in a general sense, you should know how you need to get where you need to get. But that doesn't absolve the journey of any surprises or any changes that you'll have to make. So,
yeah, thank you. Clayton Christensen, great thinker, member of the church, he was a Harvard business professor. He's passed away since. Great man. He said, we've got to have a deliberate strategy in our life where we're kind of like a North Star, our compass. Duckworth is teaching us the same thing. Our top level goal is our compass. It's saying this is true north in our lives, right? But Clayton Christensen also says, but there might be emerging opportunities, new surprises like you're talking about, Dave, that we realize, oh, actually, maybe actually this is more of my interest. This is more of my purpose in life. This is more of my passion. And now that emerging opportunity becomes your new deliberate strategy, right? So I don't think being gritty is about just this one thing in your life and that's all you do. She's teaching us, listen, we have a lot of goals in our lives, right, that are important. Our occupation is important. Our family is important. Personal happiness. And I think from a gospel context, we can see that those aren't even compartmentalized. All of those lead to this ultimate goal of like exaltation, right? Our happiness, our work life, our family life, all these type of things actually all come together in terms of like the whole person in exaltation.
What talk is that, by the way? Sorry, about Clayton. Is that a talk that he did?
It's a book. It's called How Will You Measure Your Life? Fantastic book. I'll put it in the chat here. He talks about 3 premises, by the way. How will you measure your life? He talks about finding happiness in your career, finding happiness in your life, and staying out of prison, which is like shocking, right? But his point is, if you have these principles, the way you stay out of prison is you don't sacrifice your principles along the way. You stick with the scruples that you have in your life. Great book, read it. It's fantastic. Not a long read, but a great read. Here's what I'd like us to do. Get your textbooks, open to page 55. I'm going to grab mine really quickly. If you don't have yours handy, okay, let me know. This might be a little awkward, but I'll hold mine up to the screen, okay? Right here, page 55. I want you to go to this, the grit scale on there. And if you haven't done this, we're going to do so now. I want you to answer the grit question, her grit questionnaire, okay? So when I did this a while ago. And so here's the directions, and then I'll put them in the chat. Number 1, score yourself according to all of those different questions. Again, scale of 1 to 5. Then what you'll do is you'll divide your total score by 10. So we'll just go there with those directions right now, okay? Again, I'll put these in the chat, okay?
Wait, we're doing it individually?
Yeah, do it individually. Yep. So just take, thanks, Dave. So just take like a minute, answer each of these questions. As you see, like I've circled the questions in there. If you don't want to do that, you can write it on a piece of paper. That's fine as well. Or if later in life you wanted to do this again, you might make just like a little checkbox in the corner or something, so that maybe later if you read this book, should you want to, you can take it again without like totally influencing how you were before. So again, answer all those questions. When you get a total score, divide that by 10 to get your general grit average. When you finish with that, just raise your hand. Let me know if you're finished, okay? And then I think it might be interesting, just kind of put your score in the chat. Let's do that. So if you're finished, put your average score in the chat, okay? And then Chandler, look on the next page, 56, and see what percentile you seem to fall into on the grit scale, okay? And here's the thing, this is like not a comparison. This is just like you for you, right? I think hopefully the hallmark of this class is where am I at right now? And if I've identified that, what do I want to do about it then? Or what can I do about it? Okay. Okay, then number two, if you've already done that, the next directions are tally, go back up to the chat, but I put some directions in there. Tally each odd question and divide by 5 to get your passion score. Then tally the even questions and divide by 5 to get your perseverance score. And then put that in the chat.
Can you say how to score ourselves one more time? How do you like that?
Right. So now I want you to look at your passion score and your perseverance score. So to look at your passion score, tally the points you have for the odd numbered questions and divide by 5, because there's only 5 of those questions. Then do the same thing for the even questions and divide by 5 to get your perseverance score. So the odd questions are passion score, the even questions are your perseverance score. And then just see if there's any difference there. And then once you've done that, just like I put it in here, I put my general RIT score in there, and then I put my passion score, my perseverance score in the chat. Go ahead and do likewise. Okay, and then finally, if you've done that, in the chat, just kind of introspective journal here. So what, right? Now that you've seen these scores, like, what are you going to do with this? So I just want you to just answer that question. So what? What is this telling you about yourself? And what are you going to do as a result? Ooh, and this is interesting, these results. Because Duckworth is teaching us, and I found myself to be the same, and even my dissertation research, I found it to be the same. More people score themselves higher in the perseverance category than the passion. But she says not all. And in here, we almost have a 50-50 split where some people are higher passion-wise, but maybe a little bit lower scoring themselves on the perseverance scale. So this is really interesting. So again, just in the chat, what is this telling you about yourself? Interesting, Brandon. Is this something you noticed about yourself before? Have you noticed this before? Or is this something new you've noticed?
I've noticed it quite a bit, especially with like my like spending habits. Like I'll get like a project in mind and stuff, and I'll like instantly like start like looking at the prices on how much it would cost me to do it, and then give it like a day or two, or like a week or so, and then I've like moved on to something else and completely forgot about it.
And is it because maybe you have competing goals there? There's this project that seems interesting, but then there's how much it costs, right? And if it's too costly, does that sometimes cause you to quit?
Occasionally, then other times I just make the irresponsible decision and just send it anyways. But yeah.
Got it. So then here's where the rubber meets the road. If you know this about yourself, at what point do you say, no, I'm going to finish this. This is important to me. I'm going to stick with this.
Well, usually I just kind of like weigh it in like the long term. It's like, is this really gonna like benefit me? Is this something that I'm gonna like appreciate down the road and stuff? And if it's a yes, then I'll usually try and dedicate myself to it a little bit more.
Yeah.
Kind of like
Well, and
if
I
it
think-
works towards the bigger goal.
Yeah, thanks. And you're couching what I would like to have more time to discuss next is like who we are now, our lower tier goals, and how they relate to our higher tier goals. And darn it, it's so hard to get to all that kind of the meat and potatoes of things with just 30 minutes. But I want to do this. With the remaining time that we have, let's see here. I want to finish reading this. And then after this, with the remaining time that we have, I want us to make kind of a counting of our hard thing goals and our fun thing goals. Again, let's do this in the chat. Just briefly, what's your hard thing goal? What's your fun thing goal? And how's it going? Okay, let's talk about this. What I'd like you to do in the homework, I've assigned this already, is then talk about how your fun thing goal, hard thing goal fits with your goal matrix. How is this helping you long-term with whatever you're trying to tackle this semester with your goals? Okay, so Gage, you can stick through things, but then once you finish them, it's like, well, now what? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, like I'm really good with something, won't set my mind to it, but it's deciding on new things I want to do. I don't know if you can hear me. My internet's not great.
I can, and I've often thought that, like, well, what's after grit? When you accomplish your goal, for me, like the most ready example is like my dissertation, my doctoral degree. Once I was going through that and finished that, then it was kind of like, I kind of felt lost for a while. I'm like, well, man, all these years I was building towards this and I have this career, but like now, how do I like redirect this energy, where I've accomplished these major like goals that I've had. So this is a question I have in my life, my life right now is what happens after grit? After you accomplish something, where do you go from there? When you accomplish that, one of those major goals. It's a good problem to have.
Yeah. I agree.
Sydney, you're saying you get distracted easily and impatient, right? What leads to that? What causes you to become impatient?
I think it's
Impatient.
just like when like you have a goal and you're like super excited accomplishing it and you're just not accomplishing it and it's like, okay, I'm done with this. This is ridiculous. You just get impatient and kind of you're just done.
Yeah, sometimes it becomes hard to trust the process because day by day, you're probably not going to notice major progress. For instance, my goal is I want to lose 10 pounds. And the good news is I've lost about 2.5 or 3. It depends on what time I weigh myself, but I usually try to weigh myself in the morning. But sometimes you can be eating right and exercising, and the scale's not telling you that it's working. And you just have to trust that it is and just keep doing that thing. But sometimes it's hard to trust, is this really working? And if we're not seeing immediate results, I don't know if this is your experience, Sydney, or anyone else's, but it becomes kind of easy to say, well, I don't know, maybe this isn't worth the effort after all. Do you experience that, Sydney?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, yeah. I think the same thing you'll find probably with your hard thing goals and your fun thing goals. And a lot of I've seen some good goals here. A really interesting one with Brandon. This is actually, Brandon, this is like I'm not afraid of needles, but I don't like thinking about blood, which has like caused me to not donate blood, when they have blood drives, because I'm like, I don't like thinking about this. So that's a good goal. Here's the thing that sometimes I wonder if maybe we do too much of. I wonder if we overthink why or why not we do things or don't do things instead of just doing those things. If I were to ever give a TEDx talk, and I'll end with this because I think it relates, okay? My talk would be, books can't change your life. And a lot of people would be like, yes, they can. And no, they can't unless, right? Unless you actually act on the things that a book is telling you, right? Otherwise, they do you no good. James from the New Testament is teaching us to be not only hearers of the word, but doers of the word as well, right? And this is the same thing with your goals, okay? If you're struggling right now with like a time management or study skills, I want you to not think of this as separate from what you're trying to be in your life. If it's a dentist or a doctor or a teacher or a nurse or whatever it is you're trying to be, it actually is one of your lower level goals. Because if you're struggling with time management right now or study skills or something, it doesn't just go away, right? What Duckworth says is that's positive fantasizing. If I want to become a doctor, but I'm not planning on what it takes to become a doctor, and certainly not acting on what it takes to become a doctor, I'll never become a doctor. It'll only be a fantasy. So what she's telling us is if you want to accomplish something in your life, then what Dave was saying, start with the end in mind. This is where I want to go. Then chart that path along the way and act on it. And in the acting, you'll realize maybe some ventures aren't as effective as others, and that's a good thing, right? That's part of what helps us figure out our lives, right? So this book, this class won't change your life unless you actually act upon it, right? Being at BYU Idaho doesn't mean that you are a student at BYU Idaho unless you act upon the things that you're trying to learn, okay? All right, so this week we've got this homework assignment for, we're going to start talking about practice. So we're shifting from the passion-oriented first part of class to now the perseverance-oriented back half of the class where the rubber meets the road. We're gonna be talking about practice, okay? Part of that though, I want you to think about your own goal matrix in your own life, your occupation, and how your hard thing and your fun thing goals actually fit within that goal matrix, okay? I'll ask you to answer that on the assignment. All right, if you have questions, stay on. Otherwise, everyone, thanks so much for another great class, and I will talk to you next time.
Thank you.
See y'all. All righty. Amanda, we've got 5 people coming in. I'm going to admit them right now. I want to work a little bit more quickly, by the way, Amanda. So if you need to remind me, I want to review a little bit, then get into the grit assessment, and then I really want to get into that goal matrix. All right, everyone, welcome to class. Thanks for being here. It seems like it's been forever since we last have seen each other. And some of you might be thinking, I know. Listen, Brother Robbins, seeing you again was one time too many in my life, or if we never saw each other again, it would have been too soon. And if that's the case, I apologize, but stay the course. We've got 5 more weeks. That's it. Okay. And then you'll graduate from college success. Okay. Garrett, would you mind offering us the opening prayer, brother?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Our dear, kind, and gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for this wonderful opportunity to be here, to learn, and to grow. And we ask for thy Spirit so that we might understand certain things, that we might be able to better in our lives, and how we can come closer to thee. And we humbly say and ask for these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Okay. Thanks so much, Garrett. All right, everyone. Just curious, in the chat, okay, just to start class, kind of reconnect. I want you to put in the chat either the coolest and or the most boring thing that you've done over the last 2 weeks since we've seen each other, okay? So coolest thing or most boring thing that you've done in the last 2 weeks. I'll do the same. Okay. All righty. Some interesting things here. Let's see here. Oh, went to the Ice Palace. Joseph, I've always wanted to do this. Is it worth the cost of admission?
Oh, for sure. I was pretty impressed. Like they must have put in a ton of work to make that thing. So it was cool.
Okay. So
Yeah.
we wanted to go, but the cost of admission for like a family of 8, I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't know if we can afford this. So we have to like all of us donate plasma or something in order to pay for it.
I mean, maybe just like take your wife or something. Yeah, but it's
Okay.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Fun for the kids though, you think?
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah, the kids would love
Okay.
it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Can you sleep in any of the rooms?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
I mean,
I know
that'd
there's
that'd be
some-
cool.
I know there's some places they actually
Yeah.
make like ice mansions or something, and you can actually pay to stay the night in those things.
Huh.
So
Oh, that'd be cool.
yeah, okay, cool. So anyone, and Joseph, where is that again? Towards Rigby, right?
Yeah, towards Rigby.
Okay, cool. So anyone else, if that's something that seems interesting, check out the Ice Palace. Jesse went home over the 3-day weekend. Where's home, Jesse?
It's out near Boise, about 20 minutes out of Boise.
Okay, cool. So you went there for the President's Day weekend, I take it?
Yes, I took a bus
Okay.
down.
Okay, awesome. Salt Lake Express?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Hey, ice skating, by the way, I'm guessing they had way less snow than we did. Is that fair to say?
It actually started piling up pretty good while I was down there. Around the day when it came to leave, my mom was going to bring me back, but instead I had to take a bus back just to make sure that we didn't put her in danger.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, it's funny how Boise, that side of the state and this side of the state, like can be total opposites as far as like the same winter. Even summer is like 10 degrees hotter over there than it is over here. So, okay, Garrett, ice skating, is that here in Rexburg somewhere?
Yeah, it was with Brother Walquist.
Is that Robert Walquist? Is he your bishop? Okay. By the way, he was my wife's bishop when she went to Idaho State University 20 years ago. So she said he used to jump up on the table and like shout at them. He's just like a really excitable guy. So, like he's like the Dead Poet Society of bishops or something like that, you know, like carpe diem and all that kind of stuff. Is that fair to say about Brother Walquist?
He works hard.
Yeah. By the way, for me, WandaVision. Any WandaVision watchers out there? Josue, have you seen this? WandaVision? Yeah. I find myself baffled and totally fixated on this thing, like weekly. Is this fair to say for all of you? Like, it's like, why is this a television show? And I don't understand this. And yet I can't pull it's like watching a train wreck. I can't pull my eyes away. But my favorite's Mandalorian by far. So I'm just kind of biding time until Mandalorian. Okay. Hey, played cards on the floor in the middle of the MC. Hey, that's living La Vida Loca right there, Jessica. Right, Amanda? So, and was this poker? Was there gambling involved? Do I need to call the honor code office? Should I be concerned?
No, I think we're good.
Okay, so it was Uno or something like that.
Something like that.
Okay, all right. Listen, don't incriminate yourself. I won't ask anymore. Okay, so thanks for that, Jessica. And then Josue, meeting your mission president. Where'd you serve and where did you meet your mission president?
I served in Viña del Mar, Chile. And my president is from Chile, but her son and daughters are living here in Salt Lake City. I traveled this last weekend to see him.
Okay, that's exciting. It's been a long time since I've seen my mission president, about 16 years since our last reunion. So that's cool. Awesome. Okay, number 2 thing in the chat, okay? Thing that you remember from the reading. What stuck out to you? What do you remember since Saturday when you read the chapter? Okay, I'll put my thought. Amanda, I invite you to do the same thing, okay? Just in like a word or two or a sentence. Okay, here we go. Grit is so from Hans. Grit is about working on something you care about so much that you're willing to stay loyal to it. Good. So she's saying like interest is like the first kiss, right? But perseverance is staying in love, right? And being in love. It's romance, long term. Jessica, have a large goal that all of your small goals feed into. Good. Yes, very good. Tom Siever, I only do things that make me happy. Do you remember what made him happy, Josue?
He was playing baseball, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So all of his decisions were in the same direction as his passion.
Yeah.
I think it
Good.
was also his work, but everything that he decided to do just helped him to be the best player.
Right. Right. And so I actually am currently following the Tom Seaver diet, right? Remember, he said pitching makes him happy. And so in the off season, when he wasn't pitching, instead of eating cookies, he'd eat cottage cheese or whatever, right? I've done the same thing. No more cookies, like healthier focus, right, on things. Because my goal, my hard thing goal this semester is I want to lose 10 pounds. Good. And unfortunately, Tom Seaver just passed away. So he was, I think, 78 or something like that. But one of the all-time great pitchers. Garrett, have one main goal, okay? And here's the thing. Let's talk about this then, Garrett. Should we just have one main goal in our lives, or is it okay to actually have a couple of main goals in our lives? What do we think?
A couple.
Yeah, a couple, right? And some of you probably have a couple of main goals, right? You certainly have some sort of like career or occupation goal, but you probably also have goals as far as like what sort of like disciple of the Savior you want to be, right? Or what kind of spouse or parent you want to be, or what kind of civically, like do you want to do community service and all this kind of stuff, right? So we might have like a couple of like main goals in our life, and she's saying that's okay. There's nothing wrong, with having different goals in our lives. Jesse's saying, I like how they said a high level goal with no mid or low level goal, stand on it, then we'll collapse. Yeah, very good. I was saying the same thing. Do you remember what she called that? If you have a high level goal, but you haven't figured out how to accomplish it, what's that called? Does that, or anyone, do you remember that?
Positive fantasizing.
Yeah, very good, Hans. It is. It's just a positive fantasy, right? Or it's wishful thinking is another way of thinking, another way of thinking about it. If you want to be a doctor, lawyer, fireman, whatever, school teacher, but you actually haven't figured out what it takes to be that thing, and more importantly, you're not acting really in accordance with what it takes to be that thing, it's not going to happen. It won't. Right? We don't like chance into the things that we really want to accomplish in our lives. And then Amanda, I've learned that my energy and time is limited. A successful person knows when to say no. Yeah, right? Or even to say, if it comes with like social things, to say no for now, yes later after I finish these other things, right? So we have these priorities in our lives. Okay, very good, perfect. Here's where I want to actually make some personal application, okay? Turn to page 55 in your book, okay? Everyone, if you've got this close, grab your book, okay? So go to page 55. And I'm going to post some instructions.
Where is it in the ebook?
Ooh, well, it will be close to the beginning of the chapter. So it's on the 3rd page of the chapter. So if you're in the ebook, it's really close to the beginning of the chapter.
Is it the table for grid assessing?
Correct. Yeah, right here. Does it look like this in the ebook, Hans? Yes. Okay. So good. All right. Here are the directions. I'll post these right here. So first, I want you to actually take about 2 minutes, score yourself according to each question, as I've done here. So like the first question is new ideas and projects sometimes distract me from previous ones. And then I circled how true I thought that was of me. And then I went on to the next question and the next question. Once you've done all that, tally your total score, divide it by 10, because there's 10 questions to give yourself a general grit score. And then once you've done that, put it in the chat, what your general grit score is Then follow the next directions that I've given, steps 3 and 4. Follow those, okay? So let's take a minute to do that. I'll put on some brain music, okay? Because dead airspace, according to everyone in the biz, is not good airspace. Okay, actually, here's one. I like this one. It reminds me of a place I'd rather be when the winters get really cold here. So let's see here. And then if you don't have your book, I'll try to get it online for you, okay? So if you don't have the book, let me know. Here it is right here. And you can take it right here, okay? And when you're ready, if you're ready for me to move up, just let me know and I'll scroll so you can get to the next questions, okay? And then I'll let you know, once you've scored yourself on all of those and divided by 10, go ahead and put that in the chat, your general grit score. All right, perfect. Jessica, thanks for that. Now, Jessica, now that you're done, go on to steps 3 and 4 to get your passion score and your perseverance score. And if you're curious, you can turn to page 56, and I'll give you the kind of the percentile based on the average American, their grit scores. So if you're at like a 4.1, that's about 70%, the average of Americans. Anyway, you can see that on page 56 if you're interested. And again, once you've tallied your general grit score, then follow steps 3 and 4 and tally your passion score and your perseverance score. Ooh, so that's interesting, Jessica. So I found myself very similar. Jessica, passion score was lower than my perseverance score.
Yeah,
Hey,
that's,
finally, go ahead, sorry. Go ahead, Jessica.
oh, I was just saying that's interesting.
Yeah, but she's saying that same thing in the book. She's saying often people score themselves higher in perseverance and passion. And I think I'm guessing that the reason why is some people know how to just grit through things even if they're not really interested in those things. Out of personal pride or maybe some sort of sense of responsibility that they have. So I think generally it's hard to be passionate unless you're talking about something very specific. And if we were talking about something very specific, your passion score might change. All right, good. So some of you have now finished both your general grit score and your passion perseverance scores. In the chat, I want you to now write, what is this telling you about yourself and what can you do about it, okay? question in the chat too. Hey, again, so if you're finished, what is that telling you about yourself and what can you do about this? All right, thanks, Jessica. A couple of you are weighing in right now. So Jessica's saying, I definitely am the kind of person who sticks with things, but I sometimes, sorry, let me turn off the music. Doesn't that make you feel like, oh, I should be on a beach somewhere instead of like in 3 feet of snow? Amanda, does this make you feel like that?
Definitely.
Sorry, go ahead. What were you saying?
I was just gonna say definitely not. Still feel like Rexburg.
It still feels like Rexburg. You can't trick yourself into feeling like you're in a balmier place, you know? So Jessica's saying, I'm definitely the kind of person who sticks with things, but I sometimes stick with things that I'm less passionate about. So, you might be gritty about things, maybe too gritty about certain things in your life. For my life, I think it means I need to not just set goals to set them, but set goals that I'm actually enthusiastic about and goals that are more meaningful to me. And I'm hoping when we segue into talking about our hard things and fun thing goals, I'm hoping for you, Jessica, as well as everyone else, that whatever you chose as your goal is actually something that's relevant and meaningful to you. I've had students who are like, I just chose a goal to choose one. I'm like, well, your prospects of accomplishing that goal are like zero if you don't really care about it, right? Okay, thanks, Jessica, for that. Joseph's saying it shows me that I need to work on not getting distracted and be more consistent in what I set my mind to. How are you finding that to be true of you, Joseph?
Yeah, good question. Well, so I've just seen that when I have the goals that I need to accomplish, then I'll get distracted pretty easy and then start working on things that don't matter as much.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely, like, that's what I've seen. If I can stay consistent on the priority things,
mm-hmm.
then I'll just be able to accomplish a lot more.
Yeah, thanks. And sometimes we can get distracted by the easiness of certain things where we think, and we kind of become deceived by, well, I'm doing things, right, and working, but we're kind of avoiding the weightier matters in our lives, right? Sometimes we get distracted by, oh, I need to respond to that email now and things like that, instead of working on that term paper, because it's easier answering an email than it is working on that term paper, right? Hans, I sometimes think my interests still swing a little bit. What I need to do is be more loyal to my goal in the long run. Good. And I think this is a good transition. Here's the thing. I don't want people to freak out if they're like, I don't really know what I want to do in my life, or I haven't like figured out that top occupational goal. That's fine. That's what college is about. You're trying to discover these interests. You're trying to develop your purpose, right? And when you discover those things, that's when Duckworth is telling us we have passion in our lives. And when we've got passion, then perseverance is a little bit easier. So let's transition now. Just quickly in the chat, I want you to, actually, let's do this, okay? I'm gonna put you into breakout rooms. I want us to talk about our hard thing goal and our fun thing goal and our progress with those things, okay? I'm gonna put you into breakout rooms just in groups of 2. Let's see here. So let's see, Amanda and Josue, I'm just going opposite ends of the spectrum that I see here. Okay, Hans, Jessica, and then Jesse, you and I will be in a group, okay? So for 2 minutes, okay, what's your hard thing goal? What's your fun thing goal? what's your progress, okay? After we do this, we'll all come together, and I want you to just chat either how are you going to plan to continue to be successful with these things, or what are you going to do to recommit yourself to accomplishing these goals, okay? All right, 2 minutes, everyone. Jump in those rooms, talk about your hard thing goal, fun thing goal, your progress. Let's come back together for the last 2 minutes of class after that, okay?
There we go.
Okay, I know that was really quick. Final minute here, though. I want you to just, what's your plan of action? Here's the thing, okay, about this class and any other class. Ideas, right, just having ideas aren't going to change you. It's the ideas in action that will change, right? And so if you have a goal and you're not doing it, then you've got to create an action plan. So I want to just see you 1, 2, 3 sentences just towards the end of class, type in your action plan, okay? We got a minute left, okay? What's your action plan? I'll put my report for my hard thing goal. Very good. So quick report here. My hard thing goal, lose 10 pounds. I've lost 2.5 because I'm doing things that I know will contribute to that. Eating nutritiously, counting calories, and exercising. First week, I didn't lose anything. I actually gained 1 pound. And I thought, I've got to trust the process because I'm eating nutritiously, I'm exercising, I know it's going to work. Second week, I've lost 2.5. So it's working, right? And now I've got to keep going because it's worked in the past. I know it'll work again, okay? Fun thing goal, learn the ukulele. Last week, success. I want to learn a new song. This week, not success, didn't prioritize it. So I'm going to choose a time right after the kids go to bed, 10 minutes. I'll just spend that. And it usually only takes me about an hour to kind of learn a new song with the strumming and the words, singing. So that's me recommitting myself, okay? Now, we don't have time for everyone else, and now we're a minute over. And by the way, I won't charge you extra tuition for the minute over. It's on me. So it's called You're Welcome. But you've written down your goal. This is for you, okay? And listen, your goal won't change your life just by thinking about it, okay? So like James says in the New Testament, be doers of the word and not just hearers only, right? spend maybe less time thinking about why am I not doing this goal, and spend more time enacting your plan of just doing it and see what happens, right? Just experiment. Let's be scientists in our own right. Everyone, thanks so much for class. It's so good to see you again after 2 weeks off. This week, again, with the homework, we'll be talking about practice this next week. We're transitioning more to the perseverance side of the class. And part of that, I'll ask you to talk about how your a hard thing and fun thing goals align with your occupational goal matrix, okay? Some people think they don't align. I want you to make a case for why it does, why what you're working on that's hard for you right now matters long-term for your future career success, okay? All right, stay on if you've got questions. Otherwise, sayonara till next week, everyone. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right, thanks. Okay, Amanda, I've got a couple things I need to make up, catch up grade-wise. And let me, let's look here just a second here. Have you met with anyone, by the way, for the one-on-one?
Oh, Brother Rob, you're still recording, by the way. I don't know
Oh,
if
yes, I am.
like that.
Let me stop that.